Come again?
Lost my train of thought there for a moment. I've got something else going on here. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, the question was why do we even bother to look ahead? I'd say that we bother to look ahead because that's what evolution has given us in terms of how our minds work. Our minds
we do it
aren't
because
just
we can.
finding out about it. Yeah, they're for looking forward. They're future.
I see.
We make future in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that we can make predictions about them. Sorry.
Sounds good. Well, we've quickly come to 33 minutes. And so if you have one thing that you would love to just nail me on, now's your chance.
I don't really have anything that I'd like to nail on. I think it would be useful maybe to talk in stick hands some more about this, or maybe we can do a video exchange. I'm still not clear. I don't think you made any kind of knockdown case for the idea.
Well, let me see what I can do in a few minutes here. Let me see what I can do in a few minutes.
What I'm asking you about then.
Okay, go ahead.
So, show how it's a necessary case, a necessity that we make the assumption that immaterial causes are at the root of the natural laws or anything, the consistency that we find in nature, and how that couldn't possibly be a material phenomenon.
Well, anytime you look at a thing in nature that has a property and that it is separate from another thing that has a different kind of property, these properties can only arise from some sort of standard. And so the question is, you're right, it's either that the material itself is either being informed by something immaterial on how to behave, or something material is telling something material how to behave. But here's the problem with that. You assume at that point that some material does need to be informed and that other material does not. And in that, you are describing material that informs itself, that is itself, and is not affected by anything else, and that it suddenly becomes not predictable and not, I don't know, that's not how material behaves. Material reacts to things around it. It's informed by other things. I think what you had at the beginning was very interesting with your rivers and your lake beds and that sort of thing. You recognize that material is informed by something other than itself, and that's the only reason it does what it does. So then, in recognizing that, I'm making the case that even in your argument, you are assuming that material in its absolute nature cannot do anything by itself or be anything by itself, that it has to be informed by something separate than itself. And to just say it's something else material does not answer the question as to when does material start to tell itself what to do, rather than be told by something other than itself and something immaterial, something about relationships, something about ratios, something about lawfulness in that regard. The idea of lawfulness is to assume that there is something other than what is being operated upon that is doing the operation.
Sure. And yet, again, it could be simply something prior that is itself material, or what we would call material. I mean, really, there's a problem with the language here anyway, because anything that we can't observe, we would say, is, we don't know if it's what that is. I don't know what material really means, if you're saying it's whatever is behind atoms, well, behind atoms are quarks. Well, if you say it's what's behind quarks, there's another fundamental particle we've detected that's behind quarks. If you say it's what's behind that, well, we don't know. And that may be something else. If it's detectable, then it's material. If it's indetectable, then I guess you might call that immaterial, but it may just be something else that was that's really there in principle. I mean, but not necessarily itself uncaused. That thing may be constrained by something behind it, which may be constrained by something behind it, which may be constrained by something behind it. This is not an out of the question case. It could be that there are an infinite regression of things which cause other things to behave in a certain manner. They constrain other things.
Well, I'll give you the last word on that. We've reached our 40-minute mark, so I will thank you very much for talking. We'll have to do it again. There's obviously lots more to talk about. This is tip of the iceberg, and that often is the case. But I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, John.